Happy graduation, graduates. It's truly a pleasure and an honor for me to be speaking to and with you today. I wish we were together in person, but this will have to do, and I think it's something we've all become accustomed with over the course of the last year or so. My name is David Wilbrand. I am a 1996 graduate of the University of Cincinnati College of Law, so this makes my 25th anniversary. So 25 years ago, I was literally sitting where you were sitting, perhaps in a somewhat different configuration, live and in person, but feeling the same things you're feeling, experiencing the same things you're experiencing. So congratulations. It's an incredible accomplishment. And now you are prepared to embark and move forward with the rest of your life. And that's what I'm here to share a few words about. So being 50 years old, having been out of law school for 25 years, having walked the earth a bit, I've learned a couple of things. I've stumbled quite a bit. And I hope to share some of those reflections and lessons here today. And the theme that I'd like to drive toward or focus on or build this around is stillness. Stillness meaning silence, stillness meaning quiet, stillness meaning reflection, stillness meaning quietude, stillness moving, giving yourself grace and space. And I'd like to break it into three parts. The first is stillness in the moment. And this is a very tactical lesson that I would like to share. Law school trains us to think logically and directly with much focus and energy on what's presented in front of us. We think in terms of debate. We think in terms frequently of confrontation. We hear something and we immediately start to unpack it, to consider what we agree with, what we don't agree with, where we want to push back, where we want to lean back, how we want to adapt and move with it. And frequently, the instinct that builds around that lesson is to speak. Someone starts to say something. It could be a witness. It could be a counterparty in a transaction. It could be another lawyer. It could be a contractor working on your basement. They immediately start to speak, and you immediately start to interrogate. If you don't do that yet, you will find that you will. It almost can't be helped. It's Pavlovian in a sense. And that's not a bad thing. Okay, what you're looking to do is it's your mind working in real time, looking to break apart what it is that you're being presented with and working with it and melding with it and driving it towards the end that you're trying to achieve. And that's perfectly well and good. But, you know, there's an old saying which goes something to the effect of God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason, and perhaps we should listen twice as much as we speak, and I have found that to be true. So, lesson number one, stillness in the moment. There is a place to interrogate. There is a place to speak. But give this person time to breathe. Lean back a little bit. Create the opportunity for them to talk, to share, to disclose. Sometimes you may find that in the first 30 seconds they share a nugget that you didn't expect to get so easily and so quickly. Maybe it takes 2 minutes. Maybe it takes 10 minutes. Maybe it takes 30 minutes, but sometimes those don't emerge, and they certainly don't emerge in context and in a way that is particularly useful and disclosive if it comes from you hammering away at them. That kind of hammering has a time and a place, but think of it as a unique tactic that you occasionally pull out of your quiver, but it's not your go-to move. Your go-to move should be to listen, and I would encourage you to do that, professionally and personally. And the significant others in your life will probably appreciate me saying that. But I can't tell you how often that's worked to serve me and serve me well. When I meet with a new client or a prospect for the first time, the way I always get the conversation going is simply to say, tell me about yourself. Who are you? What are you working on? Tell me about your business. Why are you talking to me? What brought you here today? And just give it to me in a stream of consciousness. I'm not looking for a 10-slide PowerPoint presentation with 4 bullets on each slide. Just let it go, let it rip, and I let them talk. And sometimes they're done in 2 minutes, and sometimes they're done in an hour. But inevitably, if I stay out of the way and I let them speak, I learn so much more than I would have had I just come in hammering right away. You know, they get their name out and I immediately ask, what's your position? They finish telling me their position and I say, what's the name of your company? And that, it creates a weird cadence to the conversation. So stillness in the moment, number one. Number two, stillness in the day. We are surrounded by noise. It's 2021 and we are living in a time, we are living in an age where there may be no one left on the planet who remembers what the world was like without the noisiness that we experience now. Our cities are loud. Even the countryside is loud. Our phones are loud. Our homes are loud. Wherever we move, there's noise. It's visual, it's audio, it surrounds us, and it's distracting, and it pulls us away from the ability to truly concentrate and go deep. And I would encourage you, as you structure your life, professionally as much as personally, that you find ways to remain still in the world, that you find that quiet, that ability to think, to go deep. This means trying to avoid multitasking. I don't think you need me to tell you that multitasking isn't a thing, okay? Multitasking is really just a series of tasks being done very poorly. And that's what we do when we respond to the noise and the distractions. And to be fair, this isn't merely a matter of reacting to the world around us. We do this to ourselves too. Pascal said something to the effect of all of humanity's ills stem from our inability to sit in a room by ourselves quietly. And how many of us can relate to that? We don't last more than 10 seconds without turning to our phones. We all see it. You see it at bus stops, you see it in airports, you see it in waiting rooms, you see it in law school classrooms, you see it around the dinner table, you see it everywhere. We seek out distraction. So it's not enough to simply say, the world is so noisy, I just can't get away from it. We certainly play our parts. And I would encourage you to find ways to create quiet, to create stillness in your day. Without that, it becomes very difficult for you to go deep in your thoughts. You're living at the surface, constantly distracted, looking around like a puppy, okay? But if you're going to serve your clients, if you're going to serve your friends and your significant others and your family, if you're going to serve yourself, you need moments of deep contemplation, and you can't get that in a noisy world. One that's noisy around you and pushing that upon you, and noisy in the way where you're going out and seeking that distraction. So find quiet, find stillness in your day. So we have stillness in the moment, we have stillness in the day, and then the final point around stillness would be stillness in the life. One of the things that I have found about practicing law is that practicing law is a very active profession. And this is as true for those of us who are in private practice, as well as for those of us that are in in-house positions, whether literally engaged as a general counsel or in a similar role in a company or in a law-related field inside of a company. Because of the way we've been trained and because of the sort of work that's delivered to us, matters tend to be urgent, they tend to be important, things tend to move quickly, and the answers need to be given now. Responses need to be given now. The document needs to be turned now. The answer needs to be researched and written and filed now. Everything is now. And that bleeds into our personal lives as well, I promise you. I've seen it happen to me, where you get addicted to that pace and you get addicted to that cadence and that rhythm of work, and it spills over into every element of your life. And what that means is that you're always in motion. You're always moving at a rapid rate of speed. Now, this is not to suggest that you embrace passivity and laziness. But instead, what I would encourage you to do is give some thought to a doctrine that oftentimes is attributed or attached to Taoism, and it's called Wu Wei. And the notion is, it doesn't translate well into English, but something along the lines of do without doing, try without trying. Some of you have maybe heard something like that attributed to Bruce Lee around be like water. And the notion is not to sit still, as I mentioned, passively, lazily, doing nothing. But instead, it's to say, don't force. Don't confuse activity with progress. If something is not ready to happen yet, don't force it. And give yourself time to work at a proper cadence and pace. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Give yourself time to breathe. Give yourself time to think. Give yourself time to rest. Give yourself time to move. And when the time comes to move, move. Another way of thinking about it, it's one of my favorite expressions. It's sometimes attributed to Caesar Augustus, and it's make haste slowly. So be intentional, be deliberate, be thoughtful, be mindful about what it is that you're doing and the path that you're on. But when you've made your decision, and when the course is clear and it's been charted for you, move with speed, move with pace, move with energy and vigor and determination. And all of those things are required, not just within our profession, but within this world. And that's okay. That's how we accomplish our goals. That's how we feed our ambition. That's how we grow. That's how we become deeper and bigger people. But we don't achieve that if we forget about the intentionality, if we forget about the mindfulness, if we forget about the thoughtfulness and the deliberation, and we're just thinking about speed all the time. You end up running into dead ends. An analogy I will give you that I use all the time and have for many years over the course of working with and representing startup companies is frequently venture capital is referred to as rocket fuel. So the idea is that a founder, an entrepreneur has an idea for a company and they start it, they launch it. And then when they are really ready to drive that business forward, they raise venture capital. And that's the rocket fuel to push them forward and propel them to the next stage. And it's true. Okay, money acts that way. That's what capital does within the context of these business transactions. But if you think about that rocket analogy and how it works so well and ties back to what we're talking about here, you need to ensure that your rocket is pointed in the right direction. Okay, that you've done the work to create it and shape it, that you know where you're heading, that you've done the math, that you understand the physics, that you've done the prep work. So that when you add the rocket fuel, your rocket is going to make it to the moon or to Mars or to wherever. If you don't, if you're just racing around without focus, without intentionality, without deliberation, without care, you may get your company started and you may raise venture capital and fuel that rocket. But if you want to go to Mars and if you're pointed towards Mercury, well, you've got a big problem on your hands. Okay, you've launched, but you've actually made your problem worse. Now you've got to figure out how to traject back. It's not easy. Life works like that too. So make haste slowly. Find stillness in your life so that you have the opportunity to think and contemplate and go deep and really understand where it is that you're heading on behalf of your client, on behalf of your family, and on behalf of yourself. And with that, let me once again offer my congratulations. It's an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you today and to share these thoughts. I hope you take something away from it. Most commencement addresses are quite forgettable, and I suspect this one will be too, as you're filled with excitement about this moment. But hopefully a little bit of it sticks in your subconscious, and I certainly wish you all the best of luck and look forward to seeing you as a fellow member of the bar. Thank you.